Switch Pod, the world's most celebratory podcast, the world's most celebratory rugby podcast
Yes, sir.
out at the moment. The champagne is out. The champagne is out.
It's out.
It was a role reversal from what we experienced last week. I mean, last week I enjoyed the Curry Cup and not the Boks so much. This week, Curry Cup was terrible, but the Boks gave us reason to scream and shout.
Yeah, no, certainly. I think, geez, what a relief. The Boks getting over. I think that first half, I won't lie, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I was panicking, but the boys pulled it through.
Yeah, you had O'Gara on this side saying he'd be surprised if no one gets sent off in that second half. So, I mean, they had their own takes. It's obviously going to be biased, but they said that the boys were rattled. I think there were a few guys on the other side that were quite rattled. Dwayne van der Merwe, one of them, he, it seemed like, was rattled and the moment was bigger than him.
I think that intensity and that physicality is something that, as much as, mentally you can expect, but until it hits, you don't know, you don't really know what it's about. And I think that's what got the Lions, is that it was just too much passion from the Boks, more intensity. It was
however, I did think, you're talking about the intensity. I thought the intensity would boil over that first 20 when I saw what was going on. There were a few guys. I mean, even when we saw Colby going for that, I mean, I thought it would boil over in certain guys. And I mean, let's be honest, that it was a red, but thank goodness for Rassi intervening with the media this week. That's why you got to play the game, you get the prize.
Yeah, exactly. And look, it was a red, we were lucky. You're right. Rassi knew what he was doing. He knew what he had to do, and it worked. But I also kind of feel like that there was a lot more emotion from the Bok players, and that could have easily, and there were signs that, it could have easily tripped us up and, down 14, 13 men and there's the series gone. But
I think in the past, that's the type of team that we were. I think a Tri-Nations game against Australia, someone would have lost their head.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about. I feel like we've become a more mature team.
Yes. Definitely. But getting into that game, I think even Kolisi, for me, he stepped up man of the house. For me, he a lot of those guys, you could see they were like, no, we are the men of this house, and led by the captain. I felt he had a big performance. I know he didn't win man of the match officially. Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to. I know he didn't win man of the match officially, but for me, he was man of the match because if he doesn't make that tackle, if he doesn't put himself there, basically, if he's not at where he was, and the Lions score, the confidence, I felt like that game was all about whoever gets the first try. Whoever gets the first try is in the driver's seat, and it's other teams to chase. And surprisingly, the Lions didn't chase and go for the kill. You'd have thought that, effectively that was a nothing to lose game for the Lions. Because if you lose, you still have the last one to try and win it. And if you win it, you win the series. It was. Now it's really this last test that's coming up. It's all or nothing, and I feel like they would be more under pressure, having come from a position of dominance, going 1-0 up. So, good result. Not the best sort of spectacle, but at the end of the day, it's all about the win.
Yeah, it's all about getting the job done. I think what you're saying is true. They should have just had a go for it and played more, run a bit more. I think. Because they've put themselves in a position where they're going to have to do that in the next game because they're being out-kicked, they're being out-scrummed. Yeah. The Boks were the ones that had to go regroup and strategize and get a new plan. Now they're having to do that for the final test, and that's not ideal. I mean, if they play the game the same way, I don't see them.
But I mean, you see with the selection, it doesn't look like for the next test, the last test, doesn't look like they will be playing the same way. It looks like they're looking to go attack all out. You know, with the guys that they picked, Josh Adams, Liam Williams. I think, look, it makes for an interesting third test. You know, but that you speak about the scrum dominance of the Boks in the second test. I think really all it was, and I think Rassie Erasmus, yes, maybe you can question, but from a South African context, no, like you fully agree with what he did. You know, maybe he shouldn't have directly went at the ref, you know, but the fact of the matter is that he called for fair judgment, for fair calls to say,
no, he did what needed to be done.
Yeah, and we saw that. I think we saw that within the scrums, because the whole series, you know, Lions loose heads have always been, you know, scrumming on the angle. The hips are always out, you know, going in, and it got picked up. You know, at the breakdowns, they were not allowed. So the tackler was not allowed to lay there. That extra second or two, you know, that we've seen them do, even in the build-up against the franchises that we've seen them do, they weren't allowed to do that. You know, and for me, it was consistency all around from the referee. But at the same time, I feel like the Lions didn't have an answer. You know, they didn't have an answer for the physicality. The physicality was just way too much so subdued, and you saw even in the scuffles. That's where you saw it. The scuffles.
You saw guys sort of acting out of their character. I mean, Itoje is not a, you know, he's not a chippy guy. He's not a rough 'em up guy, and he was leaning into the kind of stuff that Etzebeth was doing. And if that's not your game, that's not your personality, you're always gonna lose at it. You saw what he was trying to do, and it just wasn't working. Half of the time he's diving, the other half, Dialendi's faking punches at him.
Yeah,
he was just getting caught in the wrong situations. And why was it happening? Because kneeing on players, he was getting caught out of character. You know, if you're not that type of guy, then don't try. And I think they got sucked into, you know, that scrappiness.
Yeah, a question. Do you think maybe they, you know, from their management side and, you know, and the player group, maybe they would have felt, okay, you know, following Rassie's video, or they would have felt, okay, these guys are going to come into this game highly emotional, highly charged, you know, and there's that window, of which there actually was that window in that first 20 minutes where, you know, if you get underneath their skin, one of them will make a mistake, you know, and give us the momentum. And I think they got stuck in that mindset, and it's sort of that the Boks sort of picked up their discipline, because that's all around discipline on the day in terms of what the ref is allowing and not allowing, you know, and the Boks sort of stepped up their discipline, and, you know, as that,
and they walk that line. They walk that line that if you step over, it's a card. And if you don't, you'll end up getting the physical edge and the mental edge. They knew how to walk that line. The Lions are far, far off that line.
Yeah, they were, you know. And I mean, look, it was good to see them all working again. And again, I think it's just from, all it was is just, I felt like good officiating, you know, in terms of the setups, and not allowing guys to gain that obvious illegal, as it were, advantage, you know, where it's purely, you know, one setup against another. There's nobody that was allowed to swim around the sides. Whereas I feel like if that was last week, you know, a lot of the times it was going to be let go and seen as coming through the middle and things like that. So immediately you could see the difference and feel the difference in that test match, you know.
I mean, you want to talk about specifics. If, you know, you're talking about Moors, if we talk about lineouts, they did struggle a bit when Peter Steph du Toit went off. But then, you know, halftime they made that adjustment, brought on Ludziaga, shored that up.
Yeah, what a effort from him.
Yeah, and it's I mean, that's the thing about these series, it's all about adjustments. Same thing. I mean, they made the adjustments with the front row.
Yeah.
Then they saw this time what we're going to do with the front row. They brought on Nyakani. Nyakani came to eat. he ate. I think
tongue out. He was hungry, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it's BMT from him. I mean, he showed that's he's got the right stuff. Only unfortunate thing, Faf, I think that's going to be a problem, him being injured. Yanchis came on. He's not on form.
He's not on form. He's not confident at all.
He's not playing with the pace, the sharpness. But it's one of those things where guys haven't been in camp. They called up Jaden Hendrickson this week.
Yeah,
I think it would have been ideal if he had been in there some more time.
Yeah, because I could see him being on the bench this test with, let's say, Faf out.
Yeah.
If he was involved early on,
he'd bring the same thing that Willems is bringing right now.
Yeah, because look, as much as Noamba is my guy, he's a Sharks guy. I'm a big fan of his. He also hasn't been on form, and I think even when we touch on the Curry Cup a bit later on, can see it even from a kicking perspective. It wasn't. He's not hitting the standards that we know he can hit. To really make a claim for a test spot. But a guy like Jaden Hendrickson, you just feel for him because it's just a little too late. But there's other things on the horizon after this as well. So you'd only hope that he can take this opportunity with both hands. But nonetheless, the Boks are going to suffer without Faf, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Reinach starting. We've said it before. He's a bit of a try too hard type of guy. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, this is the opportunity he's been waiting for.
Yes,
going to the World Cup, playing fringe matches, playing midweek matches. This is the stage that you want.
Yeah.
No real changes other places except for Lutiaga coming in with the injury and Mostert. So it's just basically the reshuffle that happened during the game. Only other thing is they brought in Monet staying there for that last minute kick. And I also think Pollard quietly had a bad game.
He did. I'm so glad that you touched on that. Because, I was going there in terms of, look, if you're looking, okay, Monet staying. The fact of the matter is this. It's not like he's been playing terribly for the Bulls and all of that. He's been there, he's done that. We know, so you can understand the selection, of him there. But then when you look at, like you say, with Pollard, even last week, the first test, Pollard did miss, a kick that potentially could have put us in front. He did miss a couple of kicks the second test as well, which could have come back to haunt the Boks. So yes, the try with Mapimpi, it was good vision from him, but that's what you expect. So you're not gonna mark that with like extra points, So when you look at it all in all, you can say he's not at his best. I don't think a lot of those guys, they're not yet at their best. Some of the guys, yes, maybe they
some of those guys are at their best, but Pimpi is playing at, you get that test level, then you get top achievers in a test level. You get those guys that excel at test level. Those are guys that I think he's in that kind of form where it's like you take how many guys there are on the day. There's maybe 3 or 4 of them that are at that type of level. And I think he's one of those guys playing at that level. I think he's also playing at that level.
Taking the words right out of my mouth, because I was about to say that him and especially when we went down to 14 with Cheslin off, the way that they were so connected defensively, they really shut a lot of the Lions' play down when we were down to 14, where the Lions were looking dangerous. I think, and I can see why Mapimpi was the official man of the match, and I don't dispute that, because when we were down to 14, he made got a crucial penalty, holding on penalty. Good defensive reads. Okay, yes, he may have given a penalty away. He could have gone either way, his way or not, but fact of the matter is the work rate that he showed, during that period. I think that really, him and together, and also with Damian de Allende, I think he is one guy that you shouldn't sort of overlook, because I think his consistency is just a solid figure, and he has become that player, and I can remember.
Yeah, no, he's turned it around. We all, everyone was moaning and groaning about the type of, holding on to the ball too long and doing this, and it was just decision making, and he showed that up. So it's shown maturity in his game. The one thing I want to ask you though is, on social media, we've seen a lot of things now saying, when it's all said and done, is I'm going to be the best 13 South Africa's ever seen. Some people are even saying right now he's the best 13 South Africa's ever seen. But even the center combination, they're saying is this the best center. I'm sorry. I'm a Jacques Fourie man. I still think I think he's better than I think defensively, is very solid, and it's difficult to take him. It's difficult to play in a way to unseat him and take his place.
Yeah,
it would be difficult for whoever's coming up trying to take his 13 jersey. But at the same time, I feel like, guys, Jacques Fourie was a game breaker. I don't think on attack has the same game breaking skills.
Yeah, that's why when you're talking defensively, I feel like from a defensive point of view, they match up evenly. Two different type of players, definitely different physical attributes and all that. But I feel defensively they do match up. I feel like makes he makes very good reads on defense. But from an attack point of view, and all round perspective, I think if Jacques Fourie is a 10, is an 8. In that sense, he's classy, yes, but he's just not in that class. You know what I mean? He's just not in that class. Because he's not going to, in the 79th minute or 78th minute, run over 3 players and score in the corner. You know what I mean? He's not going to do that. But
how many times have you seen go through a defense clean, not touched, under the poles? That's the kind of thing Jacques Fourie was doing.
Yeah, in terms of the running lines, things like that, and being able to unlock defenses. So I completely agree with you. And I think maybe from a 13 perspective, in terms of modern era rugby, he's the second best that we have, that we've ever seen in SA for me,
Yeah, moving on. Let's get into the Currie Cup, which was another story this weekend.
Hey.
Lions. I think we'll start Lions versus Pumas. I just want to say, guys, rather spend your time with your family. Don't watch the Lions. Don't waste your time watching the Lions, because I don't know what's going on there. Happy for the Pumas though. I don't know if it's to believe what the commentators had said, that they took the bus that morning, which is some schoolboy stuff there, and they still had the. I mean, I can believe it if going by the first half was, you could see that. Then second half they kickstarted and got things going from that point. They lost Chituka early on, and that was always going to be the game. From there it was a wrap, and they started with Sangweni and Chituka again, which I've mentioned might be a recipe for disaster. And then you go and take off Chituka. So yeah, the Lions, we need help.
Yeah, look, you say yes, need help, but I also think, just from looking at it, there's good. The ingredients are there. That's the thing. I think for me, what I mean, quarters, by the ingredients is that you've got the personnel. You've got the players.
Do we?
You've got the players to build a team around, rather. So you've got your Chituka, he's there. He's been Mr. Consistent for them. Yes. Sangweni is up and coming. Okay, you've got your Similani there as well. So, there's elements that you do have where you can build a team around. But in terms of the overall package, I don't think as a unit they even understand themselves or that they are clicking, because
I even wrote that down. I said these guys, they have no identity and they're playing against a team that's got a very strong identity. At one point, it just became men versus boys.
Yeah, geez, you saw that. I mean, look, the Pumas counterattack, when the Lions made a mistake, just punished. The Pumas just overall attack, the set piece, they well drove.
Set piece, your set piece or their set piece, it doesn't matter. Because if you make a mistake, they're over.
Yeah, they're well drilled, and I think at the stage, you can say the Lions looked strong, good. The pack, because they had good tries, were just pack tries, and just working hard up front, but the ill discipline was just, and ill discipline comes from culture, also comes from leadership, and look at the end, it looked like it was like, a fight back from the Lions, but by then it was just, it was too late. That's when now you can also believe the fact that the Pumas came by bus, to up to Joburg, because, close to the end, the Lions were clawing their way back, and maybe if they had more time, but I think the right result at the end of the day, based on the play that the Pumas dished up, I think the right result.
Yeah, right result. Kirkwood, he had a good game. Getting called up from I don't know where. He ran over Hendrickson for the one try, and I think I mentioned it last week. His defense.
Guys, man, no ways.
And you know what? The thing is, this week they've announced Yanchis is going back to Japan.
Yeah,
Lombard is going back to Japan. So now we're in a situation where we've just got Hendrickson. And while it was nice in the beginning, I don't know if it's nice now. That's the problem. That's the problem. When the relationship starts and it's nice. It's nice. The relationship starts, it's nice. That honeymoon phase. We had the honeymoon phase and we thought we found the next Bokfly half, but now we don't know. We don't know. And I mean, there's even the commentators were alluding to Similani maybe playing 10 even. We don't...
Yeah.
There's too many questions, not enough answers.
Yeah, the commentators were like, oh, yeah, I'd love to see Similani at 10. I was like, wait, what? I was like, geez, they doing Jaden like that? I was like, oh, that's... But... Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I told you. I even told you last week. There's a point where he clocks out, and it just becomes. Mentally, and we saw it again this week, and then you saw Zaylinger come on and kick the ball out on the full. It's just, guys, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
Look, he's not a bad player at all.
No, he's not a bad player.
I think it. Yes, other teams have figured him out because he was still new, and they've had a chance to look at him and really pick out his weaknesses, which is what's going to happen in professional sport. And I still think that look, obviously, not anytime soon, but in the coming years, if he goes on an upward trajectory, there's no reason why he cannot, put a foot forward for higher honors. But at the moment, he still has a long way to go, a very, very long way to go, and I understand the frustration. And yeah, I can see the once the honeymoon phase is over, then we start seeing all the red flags. Now it's like, how are you, so yeah, but even the Similani thing, playing him at fly off, I don't think, you want him to get his hands on the ball, where he can actually beat players with just a bit more room. And I felt this weekend, again, seeing him at 15, I still wasn't convinced that at 15, he may potentially have, an avenue there. I think 13 for him is his home. That's where I feel he can do more damage, as long as he can get the ball coming down the line, and be more threatening, coming in at different angles. But yeah, the Lions, there's definitely some issues there, and I think maybe it's also, you must remember, maybe it's also a messaging thing, because you've got guys that have, in terms of that whole coaching group, maybe there's different ideas, I kind of, maybe different messaging, because you have the one guy is on the ground, he's talking to the players, he's seeing a different picture to what the guy at the top is seeing. You never know, but they need to really try and get their act together quickly. Otherwise, Griquas are going to enjoy themselves some fresh lion kill as well.
Yeah, no comment on the rest of that. I just happy for the Pumas. I think they've got a bye next week, so they've been ravaged by injuries. So hopefully, some of those guys get some time to recover, and other guys can have some good training sessions. On to the next one as well. Another one where you should have just spent the time with your family. Western Province versus the Bulls. This one,
look, it promised to be a good game the way that Province started. That opening
40
try.
seconds on the board.
I was like, oh, okay, where have they been all season? And only to find out that, it was a hoax.
It was a false image.
It was a hoax, it was a lie. It really was a lie. Even Russ, I know I give him big raps. I still have big raps on him, but he was subdued in this game.
Yeah.
He was really subdued in this game. They didn't give him a chance to breathe, and you could see, I think the Bulls' eighth man he was looking for him. I saw in every sort of little, if there's like a little scuffle or whatever, they were always in close proximity with one another, and you could see they identified him as the danger man, and they were just, so it's almost like in the Boks game where Etzebeth was just, he was looking for Itoje wherever he was, you would have pulled him out from underground if he had to, the way he was looking for him, so, it was a difficult one to watch. I think the red card didn't help Province so much. Because for a period that game looked tight. I know the commentators were talking about it being slippery underfoot, but the Bulls, that experience of the pack, and Huerson again, those clever weighted sort of kicks. He was very influential in this game in really moving the Bulls around and getting them going. From that perspective.
Yeah. I think after the red card, it was game over. Only other things, Juan de Jong, he's again struggling. We talk about Evan Roos not having a good game. I think he also, he also not having the best time there.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I think, I understand maybe they were trying to bring experience back and things like that, but the fact of the matter is that he's not the same player that he was when he left,
I don't know. Maybe it's just going to take some time, but you're racking up the losses while, losses while it's happening.
Yeah, that doesn't boost morale. It really doesn't do your team any good. I think, look, credit to Province for hanging on the way that they did because for a large part of that game, even with 14 men, they really did hang on. It was just there at the end where the Bulls got to lose 34 points. But, you can see, okay, yes, they do have heart, they do have character as a team, but it's just not coming together. You see it in glimpses, as you saw in the first try, but it's just not coming together for them. And then the Bulls on the other side. Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. Stormers, I think the Lions, we're slowly getting into the same boat where it's just teams with struggling to find an identity. But, it's the players, they don't have that stamp, that flavor. They don't have that thing where where their household names and you know what they're gonna bring, you know what they're gonna do. It's a transition towards that. But before that, it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, But it's what I was thinking watching that game. I was like, look, I was looking at the pack age, the hookers like under 20, and I was like, okay, yes, I know we've been going hard at them, but also let's not. But although I'm saying this and I'm being a bit lenient, at the same time we started going hard at them even when they had their big name players still there before the Boks left, But these young guys that have come through, you can see in patches, individually they've got the goods, it's just putting it together. And then the Bulls on the other side, it's just, it's Jake's machine. He just puts in the diesel, he presses start, and he sits back and he watches, because his pack works hard. You can see that Johan Grobler getting a call up to the box, and in this game, albeit against a team that was 14 men down, he played well, took his chances in his strong carries and things like that. But yeah, the Bulls pack work hard. Zach Berger,
Yeah.
If I'm Ambrose Papura right now, I'm scoffing, at the fact that, he's, the Lions looking like a better prospect, if I'm Ambrose Papura. And we've said it before about Ambrose going to the Lions, and if I'm him, I'd be sending SMSs and or WhatsApps, just to find out what's going on.
We'll see. I mean, I think it's come out that Roc Nation they've set up their office in Pretoria for the Sundowns. So I mean, we'll see if the office is expanding to include the Bulls. We've seen player movement. Maybe we're going to see even more player movement.
You never know. But all in all, Bulls Province, they're always going to win it to Provincetown. So, let's move on
onto your boys, onto the Roc Nation boys as they stand.
The Roc Nation boys, yeah. Because
the Roc boys in the building.
Roc boys, they got rocked. They got rocked. And that scoreline, I'm sorry, that scoreline is even kind to the Sharks. It's very kind to the Sharks. The scoreline, the Griquas, for me, team of the weekend. In terms of the Currie Cup, Griquas and Pumas. Both of them, because they were away. But the Griquas, the strike play. They just hit them first up. Overshooting by Nohamba, misreading, not being aware of the threats. They got punished. Their pack is just, now they're working. They found their synergy. And I think we said this last week as well. Like last season, they couldn't even buy a win. And now all of a sudden, and it's not even all of a sudden. I think it's just a result of time, effort, and just consistency. And and good coaching. Let's not take that away.
I think good coaching. That's the thing. When you look at a Pumas team, you look at a Griquas team, and you can see, it's good coaching.
Yeah, the coaches are working. You know what I mean? They're not just relying on the talent.
On the talent, yeah.
Yeah, the coaches are working there because they know what's at stake. And you can see it because the basics, the execution. Because that's where you see it, that these guys, they do this thing on the regular. It's been drummed into their head, when the ball, this is what you do, or this is what we want. And we saw that the Sharks' discipline was just poor. Fine, they had a good try of their own when they hit that.
Griquas discipline as well. Arunga was playing WWE there with Nohamba, 2 yellow cards. So, I mean, if you want to talk about discipline, Stian comes say, just the yellow card, just the yellow card.
Oh, geez, but okay, yeah, fair enough. Discipline from both sides. But I think, you know, from a Sharks perspective, it like it lets you down even more because you're at home, you know, and you're supposed to be the sort of franchise that's a bit, you know, high up on the picking order. But we all know picking order doesn't mean anything, you know. You have to pitch up on the day. And yeah, like I say, Sharks, they look good in patches as well. I feel like Werner Kok.
Yeah, he's showing the value at center that Lowe and Ward couldn't show. You know, they never show that. It's just that, you know, he's playing 13. So obviously there's someone else owns that jersey. He's driving someone else's car right now. So the thing is, when he comes back now, what's going to happen is I'm going to move to 12. Is he going to play 13? Because he's showing this value at center that Lowe and Ward, they never showed.
I wouldn't be averse to I'm going to 12 and Werner Kok staying at 13. I think potentially for the Sharks that would be a better combination. You know, it just from a balance perspective. You know, both of them defensively. Kok's defense from 13 has gotten better from the first time. He's no longer just shooting up like he was on the wing. And I think on the wing, the contestables, high balls, he wasn't really so strong. You know, and he wasn't able to get his full skill sets out.
He was just jumping.
Yeah, so like I feel that 13, and you saw that, you know, how when he made that line break for that try, put maybe a Jeremy Ward in there. That wasn't going to happen. And not having a dig at the guy, it's just the reality of the situation. We've never seen it happen, so we know it. Well, we haven't seen it happen, so based on that, it's not going to happen. You know, with Werner Kok, he's in those close quarters, you know, from a sevens perspective, with him getting the ball early, he's able to really have an influence and effect more on the game. And that's, for me, that's what we saw. And I really like him there at 13. But I don't want to take away from the Griquas. You know, Griquas, for me, you know, that man, Edwin Keita, is just rapid. You know, he's hard to bring down. And he, you know, if you don't get him the first time out, the second tackle is difficult, you know, and able to keep the ball alive. Even them, they're running as well, the intensity.
Defense.
And yes, defense, you know, there's outside of the discipline, there's very little that you can pick out from the Griquas that you say that they did wrong, you know. And I think they've got a good balance in their squad now. They've got a very good balance.
It's just going to be one of those things once Keita leaves to see if they can replace him and find another danger man. I'm not necessarily betting against it. There's always guys wanting to take that opportunity. So it's next man up. It's next man that's looking for his ticket out. The Sharks,
exactly.
Kumete and Pepsi, I felt they rolled on quite nicely. They had nice support play, nice carries. They deserve a mention.
Yeah, look, I think we're looking at the future there. You know, from a Sharks perspective, when you see those two players, for me, easily see the future. And with even Dylan Richardson in there in that loose trio, I think that's the Sharks' ideal loose trio. I think where they really struggling now, you know, is in the tight five. I think that's where a bulk of their problems is coming from, because there's a lot of. I think they find themselves in a similar position to Province, except I think their youngsters are a bit more like a couple of steps ahead in terms of their development. But they're also lacking a bit, even though they had Adriansen there, which I don't really understand, to be honest. You know, I really don't, you know, because I don't see what he's bringing. Okay, yes, he is a good scrummager, but what else is he bringing, you know, to that setup? Because, yeah, man, they struggled. Yeah, I feel the tight five. Renil Hugo as well, he's good, but there's something missing, and I don't know what it is. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's good. I'm not saying, but there's something that is missing, you know. I don't know if it's that extra physicality or that extra presence, but there's just something that is missing. And letting go of JJ van der Merwe, I think the Sharks are going to feel it because they don't have a direct replacement. Although, yes, he was on the bench and, sometimes it's not, but they don't have a direct replacement.
So how do you tell the guy, okay, we're sending you on basically go intern there to gym and then hopefully we'll see you in 4 years. It's a marquee, he's a marquee player. He's someone that there were Boks aspirations, and similar to Augustus, where it's just like, but Augustus was there for longer. JJ van der Merwe, I feel like this was quite short, and then he just got bored of it, and it's like, don't really want to gym.
Yeah, and the thing is, it begs the question of him as well. Look, we don't know him personally, we don't know what's good behind the scenes, but with that talent, that just being that physical specimen, you'd think he'd be one of the youngsters excited to try and push their way into a box setup by delivering performances and bringing the physicality that we know he has.
I don't even blame him or anything. I think he's just Sharks wasn't for him. He's just going to work every day. It's just
environment, right? Like, I can see that, But yeah, look, Sharks, it's gonna have to go back to the drawing board, because at home against the Griquas, like I said, that scoreline, that 27 points that they got, that wasn't even, that was just luck. I don't even say luck, say fortune or whatever. It was, just so that they are not embarrassed, because they didn't deserve those points. Because fine, the Griquas were ill-disciplined and the Sharks had to make the plays in any case, and the funny thing is that when the Griquas were down to those 13 men, then you started to see what the Sharks are, what they could do, keeping the ball alive. And it's like, but now, why can't you just implement this sort of thing the whole time? You got to earn it, and they were prepared to do it, and that's why they got those points. But nah, I was disappointed. Very sad.
Yeah, Curry Cup, another story this week. But looking forward to next week. Hopefully, we're back with the champagne. Hopefully, we're back in good spirits, and I think we will be. I won't lie. Going into the second test, I was not as optimistic as, let's say, the first one. I think there was good reason for that. And I don't know, there was just a desire, there was a hunger that they showed, and I think they're going to show that in the third test. I'm going Boks by, I'll even give them 10. I'll give them 10. I think the last 10 minutes of that game, they really actually beat the Lions down. It was a bit embarrassing, the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Look, I think I agree with you. Boks will win. I'm not as. Last week I was super confident. I was confident the first test. Actually, I was even more confident the first test. Than last week I was confident. I was backing the guys, but I was also like, hey, but you know what? If these guys, But now I'm also like, what? Yes, we beat them down. But pride, these guys, they know it's the last time that they're putting on this jersey.
A wounded animal.
A lot of them is the last time for the Lions. So I think they'll come out firing. There's going to be a lot of pride. I think we'll take it, but maybe I'd say 8 points. I'll say 8, a close 8 or less. But we'll take it. I just
Yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it for today.
Yeah.
That's where we'll leave it for today, man. And we'll see. We're both lost for words in this situation, but hopefully we'll be back with the champagne. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yes, sir.
Dummy Switch Pod out.